Hey everyone, like many of you, I've been playing the Modern Warfare 2 beta this weekend and I wanted to make a video sharing my thoughts on the game so far. These are aspects that I felt were most prominent to me personally and that I wanted to discuss, but if there are other things that I missed or other ideas you guys might have, of course feel free to leave a comment. So right out of the gate, MW2 looks phenomenal, but I don't really think there were any concerns with the graphics, given that Infinity Ward always makes games that look spectacular. The texture designs, the smoke, the particle effects all give the game a very realistic and gritty feeling, and the weapon animations are also quite good, but in my opinion not as good as MW 2019's. However, in the case of Modern Warfare 2, all of these effects are done to such an extent that they have a detrimental effect on the gameplay. And that's basically the first main point that I have, which a lot of other people have talked about, and that is the visibility. It's just atrocious, and it's caused by an overflow of smoke, of haze, of too little color contrast, strong muzzle flashes, strong visual recoil, and last but not least, the complete absence of red nameplates and those annoying blue dots above your teammates. All of these things make it that much harder to distinguish what exactly you're shooting at, and also makes it that much harder to even spot your enemies in the first place. I can't even see him, like, what? So I really think the visibility needs to be reworked. I'd say at least for the multiplayer. For a campaign and maybe even Spec Ops, the realism of the effects can really help immersion and be somewhat enjoyable, but in PvP multiplayer, it creates such a large gray area of uncertainty that every gunfight basically feels like a game of rock, paper, scissors. For me personally, the movement feels like a watered down version of MW 2019's, just with added dolphin diving and ledge hanging. Everything feels slower, heavier, clunkier, and just less smooth overall. Slide cancelling and reload cancelling are no longer viable, which slows down gameplay, and the sprint to fire speed on most weapons is very slow, which makes it hard to win gunfights against people already aiming. The new ledge hang and climb mechanics, they're a nice addition, but in my personal experience, I've kind of found them to be somewhat clunky and on some maps even arbitrarily limited. Look at this clip from Farm 18. Why can't I climb in there? It would provide such a nice alternate way in rather than having to splinter cell my way through those narrow corridors every time. And even Infinity Ward themselves stated that the ledge climbing would give players more freedom to navigate, but so far it seems that everything you ledge climb is just an obvious route on the map rather than an opportunity to actually make a unique play. In general, I would say the movement feels somewhat decent. It'll definitely take some getting used to, but it just doesn't feel as quick and smooth as Modern Warfare 2019's. The biggest problem I have with the movement getting nerfed like this is that it further decreases the skill gap and makes it that much harder to outplay your opponents while playing aggressively. The easiest way I can fundamentally explain how I feel about the gameplay is that it feels like a nice, well-developed first-person shooter game, but not like a Call of Duty. The way everything on the gameplay side of things is set up now, it caters way too much to slower, tactical-based playstyles and feels more like a Rainbow Six Siege or Insurgency Sandstorm. The things I've mentioned about the visibility and gunplay all cascade into a game that is a lot easier to play passively, and other things that amplify this again are the slower movement and the insanely fast time to kill. And just like Modern Warfare 2019 then, it's magnified even more with the perks, the field upgrades, and the way the minimap works. That silence is still not a perk, and if you thought the footsteps were too loud in MW 2019, I promise it's a whole lot worse in MW2. And a cool game to play, but it doesn't... Yeah bro, these footsteps are actually disgusting. Even the minimap is still pretty much useless without a UAV, and then the perk system, the one thing that wasn't really broken, has been changed to a weird time-based system, which in my opinion has proven to be more of a downgrade rather than an upgrade. For example, the ultimate perk slot, which is only unlocked after a certain amount of time, is pretty much useless in any game that you join that's in progress because time runs out before you get it. All of these factors basically create a game where holding angles, sitting in corners, and just not moving a lot is rewarded more than rushing and playing aggressively, which again would be fine for any other FPS game that's marketed more as like a tactical milsim shooter, but not for a Call of Duty, especially not with Infinity Ward themselves claiming they want to create a game where every playstyle is viable, which right now is definitely not the case. Other general quality of life things that are still not fixed are the disbanding lobbies, the absence of map voting, and also the UI, which is very unintuitive. No joke, it took me like 5 minutes until I found my keybind settings. Now, to give Infinity Ward some credit, it's not all terrible. The third-person mode, for example, is pretty cool and well done. The maps are pretty good, and even some other annoying things like prone blocking have actually been fixed, which is nice, of course. As you guys know, I myself basically only play Gunfight, and while playing this beta, I could pretty much only think about how Gunfight would work in Modern Warfare 2. I do still have my hopes up for Gunfight, and multiple leaks have confirmed that it's supposed to be added in Season 1, which will probably be mid-November. Now, a lot of things I mention about the gameplay will of course have their impact on Gunfight. I think mainly the fast time to kill and the loud footsteps will limit the ability to rush and play aggressively, which is what I like to do. As for the mode itself then, I just sincerely hope that they don't try to reinvent the wheel too much. Knockout. And just add the bare bones 2v2 1 life per round with randomized loadouts back. That's all I want. Also interested to see how much support Gunfight will receive after its addition in terms of new maps, new loadouts, game mode variations, etc. I really hope it doesn't end up like an underwhelming afterthought like Cold War Gunfight or Champion Hill from Vanguard. As for the content on this channel, sorry guys, but for now I will be sticking to Modern Warfare Gunfight until Gunfight is eventually added to Modern Warfare 2. The regular 6v6 just really isn't interesting for me, and it leaves so much to be desired that I would rather stick to the game mode that I like most. Yeah, honestly bro, I'm down to play some Gunfight on MW again.
Yeah.
It just feels like MW 2019 all over again, honestly. Like just everyone using the same weapons. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna start up MW. As a whole then, Modern Warfare 2 feels like it has an incredible amount of potential, and it could have been such a strong foundation to build upwards with everything that the devs know from Modern Warfare 2019 and even Cold War or Vanguard, but at the moment it feels like they're working in a completely different direction and not really learning from their mistakes. The regular 6v6 multiplayer still has a lot of the same undesirable characteristics that MW 2019 had, and we haven't seen any major changes that the community has been begging for. Why exactly they're making these decisions is anyone's guess, but it's pretty safe to say that they're the most profitable. Thank you for watching.